Hello and welcome to Actual Play Scum and Villainy, Persephone. I'm Sean. I use he, him pronouns. I'm real excited to go after a bounty that someone else has already bounty hunted and now wants more for, but we want to give them less. I'm sure this will go wonderfully. I'll be playing Whisper, not Scion, and I'm really excited to see all these wonderful people and play some more Scum and Villainy. How about you, Lauren?
Yes, hi, I'm Lauren. I use she and they pronouns. I am playing Dipper today, who uses they, them. They are an Obot who is a mix of horrifying and kind of naive and sweet, and they like to party. We're learning that about them, thanks to lots of fun times with Cyan. Cannot wait for more fun times with Cyan and the rest of this crew. How about you, Stephen?
Hey everybody, I'm Steven, aka Silent Osiris on the internet. The O is a 0. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Scion, a noble Scion mystic, who also uses he, him pronouns. I just sundered the bridge of a prison ship, and I am looking forward to figuring out what else is going to go on today as we limp forward to our break? Second bounty. Did we do we still have Lexall with us? I don't know. Let's find out when we go to play. But for now, Jen, take it away.
Hello, I'm Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at 10penjen. I'm super excited to play this game and feel a small slice of normalcy in my life right now. I think I will be playing Samara Vosa, the scoundrel. She, her, we just brought her ex onto the ship, so that won't cause any problems at all. Very excited about it. Strash, what about you?
Hey, I'm Strash. I'm one of the regular streamers here. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on the Twitters at Strash A. You can probably see it under my name because Sean's copied and I'm sure the nameplates are up. I'm going to be running this game, so I don't have characters and with cool stuff that they do. It's very, very sad. No, I'm not. I love this game. All right, let's do this. So, last time we had a very exciting adventure on a prison ship. There were escapades, people escaping, grenades, psychics, large bridge battles, reveals about Sean's character's backstory. There was also apparently a battle royale, which was won by a very large alligator man who also bakes space cookies. And so like standard episode of Scum and Villainy Persephone here. So let's we're currently on a way station in the IOTA system. That's station 76. It's basically like it's a ring with like some buildings and other things attached to it. It floats in space and repositions itself as way lines and waypoints move. So people that are traveling along these way lines intra-system are stop by here. And we did most of our downtimes last time, actually. But I was super smart because I never remember any of this stuff, and I left notes for myself in Roll20. So the notes that I have is that Samara and Whisperer each get one last downtime action, and I have a very specific entanglement to do with Dipper. So if you folks are on board, do you know, Sean and Jen, what you want to do for your last actions?
I have an idea, but
I think I remembered that I was going to train, but I don't remember what.
Yeah. So Whisper was going to find Samara and be like, I seem to remember you commenting that I fought like an old man in that last encounter we had. Do you care to practice some pugilism? And I thought we could spar together.
That sounds great. I love
clearly,
that.
And I was gonna train prowess.
I think she doesn't even say anything. She just sort of looks you up and down and nods and like puts her hand on the hilt of the void blade. She's not gonna fight you with the void blade, but
right, but it's a go-to, right? It's right. Like a natural.
I must say void blade whenever I can.
You must say void blade. So I was gonna spend it training prowess with Samara, and I imagine it looks like I mean, like right in the landing bay with Persephone in the background, and we've got a little space there because I doubt Persephone has enough space to do it. But with the ship in the background and repairs being done and our sparks flying as it's getting upkept, and we're sparring there. I imagine that Whisper leaves it worse for wear. I mean, this is all friendly fighting, but I imagine
Samara definitely doesn't take it easy on him.
Yeah. Nice, yeah. So I think
what does Whisper fight like? Like is this like a MMA kind of like sparring match? Are you folks like doing weightlifting? Because prowess give me a lot of things. But if you're talking about actual like combat, what's Whisper's like hand-to-hand style? Like do you look like you do jiu-jitsu, or like what is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. What would Whisper's style be like? I think he's tall, and so he makes use of that. I think it starts with a I think it probably is a mix of boxing that then leads very quickly into some jiu-jitsu, like judo style holds once we get up close. So I think he tries to keep people at range, and then if he can't, tries to grapple them to the ground and uses size to get on top of them. So yeah, I think it's a mix of those two.
Cool.
I wasn't completely facetious when he's certainly not fighting certainly not pugilism, but yeah, but he starts with some fisticuffs for sure. How about Samara?
Yeah, I think that you have to switch away from the fisticuffs pretty quickly because, she's a pirate. She doesn't fight clean.
Yeah.
And she's not afraid to fight, probably dirtier than she really should. But, she said you fight like an old man, and you said, hey, you said this thing. And so she's like, cool, let's push this shit.
Yeah, nice.
So so she like pushes you, like, because she's also trying to learn as well.
Yeah. So I think we end up spending a lot of time like on the ground. Like
probably,
that's my guess. is that it starts looking good, but like most actual fights,
right?
It ends up on the ground, lots of rolling around and
just lots of struggling.
Yes. Yeah, lots of exactly. Yeah. Imagine my face turning very, very red. Let's see here. I could probably do it with the lighting. Let's see. Let's get Whisper in. There we go.
There we
Whisper
go. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So I have one minor thing to do on this topic. By the way, Jen, did you know what you're training?
Prowess, I guess. I don't know
fine.
what my options are. Yeah.
Any of the attributes. But
any of the attributes are personal.
But prowess and resolve, we both get 2 XP if we train in them because we have those upgrades.
Yeah, I'll do prowess then.
Great. You mark 2 ticks in your prowess track. I think that there is a moment like so I think that like there's probably like the bounds of this combat, right, are like delineated by like some barrels and a couple of boxes with like random tarps and like a tool or 3 on them or something. And I think Kai is probably sitting there watching the 2 of you, and when you're done, when Samara like walks over, I think he looks at her and says like he kind of lets Whisper like wander off to shower or whatever, but just like looks at you and says like, why are you wasting time with these people?
I made some cred. It's not really a waste of time.
Yeah, but look at them. You're on a ship that doesn't even have fucking rooms, much less a fleet of its own. You could have your own. Like last time I saw you, you were on track to become like a first mate. Here you're what? Somebody that like punches someone else? Like what the hell?
I did
not even the muscle. They have muscle. I've seen it.
I did save your ass. You could say thanks.
I think he shrugs and,
no, of course
says,
he does.
Says, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm probably gonna bail here and go join like a real pirate crew because this is a joke, and I'm not sure why you're doing it. I get why they want you. I don't get why you want them.
There were a lot of things about me that you didn't understand, if memory serves, and that's why we aren't together anymore. So that's fine. I do like to see the back of you.
I think he stands up and says, "Enjoy the view," and then turns around and saunters or sachets away.
Great.
All right, cool. Let's so Dipper, what are you up to after all your shenaniganery?
Oh, good question. From memory, we I went partying with Scion. That was super fun. Got a bit hungover. And then was tending to the fish.
When are you not on the ship?
I think probably when I'm out with Scion. I think I probably tend to stick quite close to the ship and to our grandma when she's around.
Let me ask a different question. When are you not on the ship and alone?
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? Probably picking up some supplies, doing that kind of thing, being helpful. Yeah.
What frame are you in?
Let's say I'm in I think the light frame probably makes sense if it's just sort of like going from the ship out to pick up some stuff or that kind of thing, or yeah.
So I think that there's probably a moment where there's probably a sequence of commentary that kind of takes you by surprise, right? Like you hear basically something like titanium tentatalium alloy. It's probably a strong base for something that light, and then like they start rattling off statistics on your frame. And if you look at them, it's an individual in they look to be like in a weird spacesuit. It's got like a purple and yellowish motif going on. It's got like seriously like grape purple and like this weird kind of like neon yellowish green kind of like color. And they're looking at you and they're just rattling off statistics like about your frame, right? Like almost like they're like reading it. They're like, but how did they do the interface? And it's like, and then they like lean in and look and they shake their head. And then like, you know, you're holding some goods. Do you react to this at all?
Yeah, I think I imagine sort of like a handful of stuff that Dipper's holding, and then sort of like clutches it a little bit closer to their chest, and then fixes them with a look. And I think like we see Dipper's like stormy eyes flicker a bit as they take in this rather strange situation, because this isn't how people usually greet each other in the street. And then I think Dipper replies with a may I help you?
I think the person looks at you, right, and says, do you have a designation?
And then I think Dipper's eyes like sort of flicker again, and they say, yes. I'm designated to the Persephone.
Oh no, I mean, oh, interesting. Do you think of it as a name?
Yeah, I think I do.
I think that they smile and they're fascinated and they say, it's a really interesting frame you have there. I haven't seen many quite like it. Transdimensional inducers are actually very rare.
I seem to know a lot about them, clearly.
I'm good at science. They smile.
Really? Did you study at any particular institution?
Yes, actually. I have several papers published. I don't know if they're still public or not, but you can probably find them. I think that they extend a hand, and this is where I frantically look for my book. I'll be right back.
Names.
Shit, where did I write those names?
Yeah. That's always the hardest part of any role-playing game.
300-page book with all those names in it.
Let's see. The lady says, "My name is Raquel."
Raquel.
Yep.
Excellent. Can I run that through any sort of like databases closely linked to my parents, or is that too much? Is that not specific enough?
I think you get no pings from your local memory. I'm sure that if you start looking for a Raquel that knows about transdimensional inducers, you can find some information, but probably not in the next not standing with packages in your arms on the the walkway.
Oh, sorry. What was it? The last one, sorry.
I said you can definitely find some stuff out, but probably not holding packages on the promenade there.
Yeah, I think I'll like sort of secretly take a screenshot.
Okay.
And then we'll like relay that back to my folks. Like, do you know this person? Their names. I'll for sure check it with my folks.
I think what she says is so if you have a name and not a designation, do you also have opinions about your frame?
And Dipper cocks a hit at that, and again we sort of see their eyes flickering as they sort of go quite internal into themselves, and they say,
I have a question before you. I just want to ask before you answer this, because how cognizant is Dipper aware of their like illegal status, that or not illegal status, but not to factory standard status, like that they should be wiped every year and that they're very different and that they're not? Like, do they try to pretend like they're just a regular Urbot that doesn't have a lot of thoughts and feelings, or do they sort of flaunt, oh yeah, I haven't been wiped in, however long?
That's such a good question. I'm trying to figure out if like Dipper's parents would have been like that. Oh no, you're really gonna like pretend to be an Urbot. Would have been like, oh no, be your weird self. It's totally fine. Like,
yeah. I asked that because I think that's kind of what this person's getting at, and I just wonder if Dipper has a feeling.
Yeah.
They have a weird sigil on their shoulder. They do not look like they're not carrying like a standard Guild of Engineers uniform. Just so you know. But go on. The engineers are the dangerous people. You definitely should not act like your own weird self around engineers. They will wipe you like ASAP.
Yeah, I think Dipper has that mix of like they want to be themselves, but then there's sort of that sort of stranger danger, like also be on the lookout for things that could be scary. And I think Dipper says like no, but like not very convincingly to like the question on opinions.
I think Raquel gives you that smile that I don't know if Dipper recognizes as a human that thinks that it's adorable that you're trying to lie.
Yeah, that's totally it.
But she says she holds out like the equivalent of a phone number on a card, right? Like it's a Nexus like link protocol or ID or some nonsense. Like a little stick that glows, and says, if you're ever interested in finding something that's not a suit but an actual body, you should call me. I'm like taps your body with a knuckle and says, better designer.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I think we see Dipper like pocketing the card very hesitantly, and then we can sort of like cut there if you like. That's awesome.
I think yeah, that's good. That's good.
I totally just realized why Ula is an ex-guild engineer. BT dubs. Because she would not wipe Dipper.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
That's
nice.
All right, just wanted to establish that.
I love that. I love that a lot. We're gonna miss Ula so much this episode. All right, so yeah, I think I'm good. I think everyone's good at this point. We're looking at the next job, right?
Yeah. And I think we know what it is too, unless there's.
Yep, you do.
Yeah.
So the thing that you were passed from the Ocean Knives is a meeting point, and I'm gonna ask you how we're gonna do this job because I don't actually know. I don't plan for this stuff. So like the Ashen Knives told you that the people that captured the person that you're supposed to recover are currently hiding inside the Ring of Fire. So let's talk a little bit about the Iota system. The Iota system has 2 stars, and in between them, there is a giant cascading pile of flame. It is called the Ring of Fire. People that are incredibly good pilots will sometimes attempt to thread it because it's usually highly lethal to ships. And there's said to be a space monster in there. But it's so tall tales. We're all sure. So anyway, there is a fuel station near the Ring of Fire, and these people are part of the reason why the Ashen Knives haven't just like wandered over and murdered them is because they're hiding out there, and the Ashen Knives are like, look, we're not like the strongest in the Iota system, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. They have a ship. They're supposed to meet at this fueling station to exchange for 8 cred. We know that they show up at X time every day, so you know that their ship's going to be like coming out. They're going to be cautious. They're going to be ready for trouble, but it's a way to track them and like pin them down. So that's the information that you got. How would you folks approach this job?
I know Whisper has thoughts, but I'm not sure I want to mention them first. I think he might be holding off to waiting for like the violent propositions.
Are we like all sitting around and like whatever passes for a common area on the Persephone having a chat about this?
I think there's only 2 places that really fit all of us. It's either the cockpit area where like 2 of us can sit in chairs and 2 of us can be sitting behind, sort of Millennium Falcon style, or it's the brig where we can all kind of like squeeze in with the door open and like 2 of us can sit on the bed, sit on the cot that's there. It's like the only bed in the place because we still haven't made crew quarters. Or maybe the cargo area. There's got to be some like empty cargo space. I don't know. I kind of like it being in the brig, all cramped up.
Totally.
Dipper has to be in a small. It can't be in like your big frame because it wouldn't fit in here.
Oh yeah, I've sort of like contracted downward and like sort of folded in on myself a little bit to sort of make space.
So they want 8 cred for a 6 cred job. We're gonna get paid 6 cred. There's no money in this except for doing it solid by the Ashen Knives. You know, we pay them a fair amount. We get paid. It's a wash. We just get in and go with the Ashen Knives. They're going to be expecting the Ashen Knives to start trouble because they haven't paid the 8 cred. Maybe they'll be reasonable. Maybe they don't want the Ashen Knives as enemies. They're not good enemies to have.
If they didn't want the Ashen Knives as enemies, then they would have turned in the bounty for 6 cred. Why are they going to turn it over to us for 6 cred rather than just take it straight to the Ashen Knives? I like what you're thinking. And like flashbacks to like chatting in the hall, a grenade exploding, passing out on the bridge. I think maybe there's something to this pacifist approach, but I feel like we're going to need to go in with a little more leverage than just, hey, we'll pay you what the agreed upon rate is.
Whisper looks to Dipper to see if there's any like sparkling of interest or.
I'm really trying to pin where Dipper's values lie in this because here's a question. Can I do some kind of like bot calculation in my brain by rolling some dice to see if I can ascertain some stuff about the probability of whatever and motivations and quantifying
are you
emotions?
The odds?
Yeah,
sounds like you want to gather some information.
Yeah.
About...
Well, let's talk about that. So yes is the answer, but the way that the game posits this is I can't tell you what action to roll. So there is no unleash your AI and calculate probabilities outside of parameters. So let's talk about it. What are you what are you trying to ascertain here, Dipper? Are you, because if you're gauging emotional state, that's usually like a doctor role. If you want to come up with a plan involving technology and how best to trap them, that's probably a rig role. Like, I can't tell you what action to roll because the game is predicated on the fact that the players tell me the action. I only tell you the position and effect. So I want to help, but like I need at least some guidance here.
No, that is perfect. That's a good springboard for what I want. I love the idea of Dipper trying to get a read on emotions. Also because my doctor is one, so if it's not going super well, that'll be very normal.
That's okay. It just so gather information checks can't be failed. The worst that can happen is if you roll poorly, I will give you poor information or maybe not useful information.
Excellent.
Or information that you're gonna have to make useful yourself. So I don't know. Why don't you roll some dice?
Yeah, let's do it. Ooh. Oh, I got a 3.
There we go. Poor information. Sounds about right, given how little we know about them.
Yeah.
So there is a conflict that you detect, which is that the attitude of somebody who is asking for more money is the attitude of somebody who is extremely daring, shall we say? Like going up against a powerful faction demanding more means that you feel like you're in control or that you have like a lot more on offer. But their behavior, hiding and exiting very cautiously and running calculations, indicates that they're not that type of crew. So you're not able to like, you basically like insufficient data, right? Like you need more information because you're seeing incongruities that aren't quite lining up.
Totally. I think the Storm gets a bit frustrated as Dipper's like trying to like figure out this information and then can't find enough and then sort of issues a short statement, to the effect of, well, they seem to operate in a very different wavelength than we do, which is perhaps why I cannot better quantify their actions or probable actions.
I turn to Samara Vosa. I say, Samara, you like money?
Sure do.
Like, if this crew, if what they want is money, what would they take instead? What could we offer them? What would be valuable to you that's not just creds?
I mean, information that's more valuable than 6 cred or whatever. I mean, I'd like to offer them some pain for that bounty, but I know my style is a little different than this crew. So
is any of what Kai said starting to feel relevant right now?
I think it stung me, obviously, even though I'm trying not to show it. But Samara is not inclined to offer them 6 cred for this bounty, or we're going to get paid 6 cred on it, right? Because we're going to expend resources. We've already expended resources in getting here. So, Samara's not interested in the peaceful option on this job, which is fine. Like,
nice.
I mean, it's purely from a negotiating perspective.
Sure.
Going in and offering them what they were offered before isn't likely to move the needle on negotiations. But if we walk in and we say, hey, we're going to clear this all out for you for half of what you're asking, for cred, all of a sudden that can start moving the needle on the negotiating position because they realize they fucked up. They're not going to get what they were asking for. They can cut their losses and take our new offer, and then we still make, a little bit for our efforts.
I mean, the problem with that is that then we lose surprise, right? I mean, we've already, they're expecting somebody. They're not expecting us, though.
I don't think anybody can expect
Nobody expects us. But I think that they've dug themselves, or they've painted themselves into a corner, right? Where they overreached, and they should have known better than to ask more from the Ashen Knives. The Ashen Knives never gives more. So they probably have at least one person on their team who is new to the area and doesn't know, and maybe convinced everybody else. And now they're stuck, right? So we need to give them an out. That means that they don't feel like they're giving up something of value. But what we're also offering them is a way to not be on the bad side of the Ashen knives,
Yeah.
which is very valuable, I know from experience. Never
Our
mind.
good friend Arlox, I'm sure, would be very reasonable and very understanding if we put in a good word for them.
That's true. Arlox does have a fair amount of pull.
Yeah.
You can probably rely on Arlox to do something.
Yeah. So
even though the Ashen knives are not known for their kindness and their love of puppies.
I think we could find out why they pulled this in the first place. Spin some version of it that the Ashen knives will accept, as these are new scrappy pirates trying to make a name for themselves, and smooth this over for them.
I'm kind of wondering if we can find that out, not from them, so that we can walk in with some information.
So
hey, what was Cookie Guy's name? Do we have a name for Cookie?
Croc.
Croc.
I think he has like some very, I don't know,
difficult to pronounce with a human mouth.
No. I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine. I think he goes by like something like Mokatoa or something like that. Like it's cool. It's very rounded sounds. He feels very like, I don't know. Yeah. We'll go with that. Mokatoa is his name. You can add him as a friend because, chat, what you don't know is that in between sessions, because the XP rolled over on the crew, we take the new power, and the power is that when you let bounties go and don't try to claim money for them, you can make a friend. So,
nice. And there he is, added to our contact list because yes, we have both sides.
If he is a person who is positioned to maybe funnel information about this situation to us.
So let me ask you a different question. Are you trying? So like there are these things called planning. So we define that sort of plan that we're having. So is this a social plan where you're trying to talk to people? Is it a deception plan where you're trying to talk to people to trick them into while other people are trying to sneak onto their ship or something? Or is this like an assault plan where the talking is basically 2 seconds before you like dive in guns blazing? Like what kind of plan is this? Just pick a plan and tell me.
Yeah.
And then we'll answer the key question and we'll just roll some engagement.
Yeah. It's feeling like we're heading in a social direction to me.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So it is a genuine negotiation.
Yeah, we want to.
Okay.
We think we have some leverage, which is that they don't want to make enemies of the Ashen knives. That's why they're hiding out, or so we think.
Okay.
And we actually have the ability to mend fences.
So social plans are usually like, can you get invited to a party kind of thing, which is totally fine because you have an invite to the meeting at the platform outside the Ring of Fire, right? It's not exactly a dance, but it's close enough. So all right, cool. So let's do an engagement roll. So what is the standard engagement roll protocol in Scum and Villainy? I ask as I very rapidly look it up because that's what we have it memorized.
What's the detail of our social plan?
The detailed question is, what is your connection? Which we just answered, really.
Yeah. We have a drop spot.
Engagement. Here we go. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? I don't know. Is it?
Oh, we don't know what we're walking into, but it doesn't feel like we're exposing ourselves to a ton of danger right now.
That is true.
Not at the beginning.
Is it? Is it overly? Go ahead.
No, it's not to gauge like severity based on the previous jobs.
I do think it's pretty bold of us to walk up to this meeting and be like, "Hey,
I agree.
They said 6, so 6." Instead
I think we're saying they said 6, so 4.
Right? Yeah. So
they said 6. Yeah.
I think it's not necessarily daring in that we don't have a whole lot of pressure that we're like fighting our way through or whatever, but like we're being pretty gutsy with this approach. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I do feel like this is pretty gutsy of us.
All right. I mean, I think all of our planning for how we're going to deal with when they pull guns on us is going to come in flashback. So yeah.
Yeah. That's the way the game encourages you to go. Don't overplan. Just all right. As long as we know what we're doing, like we're trying to talk to them normally, but then the rules will determine where things go.
Yeah.
I don't think this is overly complex or contingent on many factors. You're just talking to people. Does the plan expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? I don't think so. They're pretty cautious or come to their meat. Is the target strongest against this approach? Do they have defenses or special preparations? Yes, but not to talking. So I'm just gonna leave that as a wash for right now and reveal things as they come. Can your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? I will give you +1D for that because the meet is set up. They are kind of putting you in a position and giving you some money to negotiate with, as it were. And then, are any enemies or rivals interfering? Not at this time. And are there other elements that you want to consider? Are they a higher or lower tier? No, I'm going to say that they're a similar crew. They're a slightly higher tier crew to you, but not in a way that's going to be meaningfully impact negotiations. So yeah, let's just roll with the 2 base dice there and see how it comes out.
Cool.
All right. I'll roll since I've got the sheet up.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. There's no bad fortune. There's no bad engagement rolls.
Oh boy. All right. So I think let's why can't things ever go smooth?
Desperate consorts sound great. I'm definitely happy to try.
So I will introduce the desperate moment in just a sec. But I think what happens is you folks see this ship exit, and there is some like you folks have long range sensors, so you see them long before they see you, because they don't run long range sensors on their ship, but their ship is a heavily modified freighter. And like when you take a look at it, you realize that they're running some like weird grid, because when they come out, they're actually like bleeding off plasma that was like on their hull, which should have fried them, but they're doing okay, right? So like whoever is the engineer on their ship is pretty solid. And yeah, as they come towards the station, do you folks just how does this go? Do you just hail them? Are you like standing in the open? Like what's the plan?
What we know is that they come to the station once a day at the same time.
Yep.
And that is there a place on the station where they set up a meet, or is it just?
It's an automated fuel depot.
Cool.
It's not a station in the same sense that you folks were just on. There's not people there per se. Just occasionally ships come through, and they tend to pick like a dead time. They're just like 2 a.m. refuel moment. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So like yeah, so, you see them come out of the ring of fire because you have long range scanners, right? Like it takes them a little while to get here.
So I'm imagining it's something like they open their door from, because we were expecting them. We knew what time they were going to be here. We scanned them early, so they dock and they're going to gas up, and they like open their door to get to like the snack machine or the gas pump or whatever things you have to do to engage. And we're standing on inside the station.
No, actually, they don't necessarily. Well, you know, that's fine. I was imagining that they could run fuel lines down. But like
it could also be like a vid screen.
Yeah, that's what I was really expecting. Is they're pretty cautious. They wouldn't necessarily like go hiking. So yeah, I mean, like you can connect to them. I think screen comes online, and you see a young woman with like this brilliant blue-green coat. It's got a kitty beastie feathers on it, and you know, she's got like some giant jewelry, rocking like big silver hoop earrings. Has got like flowy hair, a bit of an undercut, and she goes, "Not exactly the drab colors of these Shen knives I was expecting. Are you here for a reason?"
You the captain? Oh, actually, what's our makeup right now? Before Sean or Whisper just dives into this. Are we all on this vid screen?
Tamara is not on the vid screen.
Okay.
But she can see it.
Okay.
If
If
possible.
you want Dipper well positioned for a covert hack, Dipper could also be like.
I
off
mean,
of the-
you folks like we could also just like if you want to be even off ship and flashback to having been positioned on a station so you can jetpack over and hack them
Right.
or whatever, like that's fine too.
oh, cool.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Okay. Cool. Then I think Whisper is there because trying to make things trying to be peaceful. Yeah. So Whisper says, "No, not a shed knives, but here on their behalf. I'm Whisper of Ula Dyson's Persephone." I just have to Whisper just has to say that every once in a while to make
I
sure
love it.
it's real clear. And we're here to relieve a burden from you. Here to give you an out from a situation that you've gotten yourselves into.
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, seems like you did a job for the Ashen Knives, and they're very appreciative of that. In fact, our good friend Arlock said that everything would have been fine, except you then decided to raise the price. Now, messing with the Ashen Knives is not usually good for one's life expectancy.
Did you say your name was Whisper?
That's what they call me.
Yeah, okay. Whisper, I'm not really sure if you're being sarcastic or if you're trying to threaten me.
Trying to make it clear that if you keep poking that bear, it's gonna bite. And I am here to make a peaceful offer.
You know what the first rule of negotiation is, Whisper?
Please tell me.
You gotta hold cards. And it's pretty clear that you do not understand all the cards in this game. Your friend Arlox is not really a friend, is he? He's not dealing straight with you.
Friend Arlox and I go way back.
Do you have any idea who I'm holding?
Why don't you tell me?
So your little Ashen Knives friends have been spending a great deal of time trying to solidify their hold on the sector. You may know this much, but what you don't know is that the way that you generally do that is you take out the competition. And our job was to pick up certain weapons that were being, let's say, distributed to certain rival criminal factions. Just so happens that the particular criminal faction that sells guns also has their idiot leader deciding that he has to shake everyone's hand. So I'm going to give you 3 guesses exactly who I have on board.
And I think I'm wondering how much Whisper would know. I mean, I think this is Drexel's Raiders.
Well, technically, it's Drexler's Raiders are pirates in the area. This is Janus Syndicate, but yeah,
the Janus Syndicate.
Victor Bax is the leader of the Janus Syndicate, and he insists on handshakes with every new customer.
Yeah, and I'm like, is it fair? So Whisper's like,
yeah, he's pretty famous in the underworld. You could probably guess that.
You have Victor Bax in holding right now.
Yeah, more importantly than that, my doctor's in the med bay and my ship took some heavy shots. So I'm holding a prize that's a lot more valuable than 6 cred. I've got every Draxler Raider between me and the gate super fucking pissed at me, and I've got damage that I've got to repair. So you tell me what I should make as my play.
Seems like you should.
I just like
lean into the big screen.
I lean in from off the way. I say, can you give me a second to confer with my co-captain? Hey,
like the big screen just goes off.
Acting captain of the I just say, that's it. That's our leverage, Whisper. They're in deep shit. We can get them out of it.
Yeah, their ship is falling apart, and I know most people aren't ready. Most people aren't exactly excited about letting go of a ship. But if us smuggling them out of here, what are we? Some kind of smugglers? No, it's terrible.
No, come on. Look, we fly wingman for them. We escort their ship to the meeting. We take on, duo style. You're a hotshot pilot. You can make this happen, no problem. Especially with that particle cannon we've got. Oh no, wait, we don't. Do we have no gun?
We have no gun.
You just realized this.
How do we not have a gun? today. All right.
We've got one.
They've got a gun.
All right. Yeah, that's true.
We can put it on our ship.
All right. Okay. Let's make this desperate consort roll. I think.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm gonna flut back and be like, okay, I think you want our help. I think you want to deliver this bounty without getting your ship blown up by Drexler's raiders, and you want to get clear of all this nonsense. I mean, you have Victor Bax in custody. What are you going to do with him? He's just a ticking time bomb on your ship.
True.
We're here to smooth things over. So how about you let us work with you instead of against you? Well, yeah, no beef with you or the Janus Syndicate.
Desperate consort rolls it is.
Yeah, right? Steven, do you want to assist or?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
I will remind you before we go any further, there's 2 questions that we have to ask.
Yeah.
The first question is, what is everyone's load? And the second question is not really a question, it's just a reminder to Sean that you have 2 gambits on board because it's the start of a job.
Thank you. Yeah, I got them.
And you have a scoundrel.
Yes, thank you. I got them on screen. My load is normal.
Yeah, I'm going normal.
Normal.
As Lauren ponders the actually important question because her character completely changes based on load.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
I have a thought, Lauren, which is that if she's wearing this Aketi-based jewelry, then she probably has heard of the Grand Phareniki. And if you're in the heavy frame and we make some allusions to that time when you punched the Grand Phareniki and sent it running away, it might establish some credibility.
I like that. I like it.
Also, you might have the heaviest guns on our entire ship with your rocket launchers, frankly.
Oh yeah, let's get. I can be the gun.
I was literally thinking we got to hold someone in the grappling hook arm, have them with like a heavy blaster, and then that's how we're gonna do this. I mean,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like
Dipper
that.
could
Yeah.
totally be our gun.
I'll totally do heavy frame, which for reference is the image on the cool Abby had done.
Yes. So if anyone's looking over there, that art is done by Brett Barclay. He was the artist for Scum and Villainy, and we commissioned him to make art of our cool characters and the Persephone. So that's what we're all.
Heck yeah, she'll do heavy.
All right, awesome. So now that we have all our loads set, desperate consort roll with an assist. And do you wish to spend a gambit?
Oh, yeah. Why not? I'm spending one.
Why not? Because you can save it for the moments when your ship is about to be on fire.
Well, that was a rhetorical why not.
Oh, okay, I see.
We've got one more. I'm spending it. All right. Consort. Desperate. What's the effect?
I think it's standard. Because like it would normally be lesser effect at best, but you're not really trying to argue with them. You're like, look, you can get paid 6 and we'll help protect you and your damaged ship and get you out. Like that's pretty reasonable as an out. I think it is something that this crew would consider.
Cool. Nice. One of those. One of those guys pulled it through.
Comes through. All right. So I think that they stand there, and then I think she says, "Excuse me for a second. I have to confer with the rest of my crew." And then their screen blanks out for like 30 seconds. Right. And then when it comes back online, she's like, "That's pretty acceptable, but these Shin knives are kind of how to put this mildly, assholes, and I don't really trust you. So how do we make sure that this deal goes through, fair and square? Do we do like a hostage exchange where one of my crew comes on board your ship and one of yours comes on mine, or like
who's your second in command?
That's a good question. I think she says like, well, my second command is in the freaking Meg Bay. Actually, no. Yeah, actually, that's what she says. She says, my second in command is in the friggin' Med Bay. But she like gestures over her shoulder and you see this like it's a squid looking man. It's like obviously like bipedal humanoid. Has like webbed fingers. Has massive scarring and basically tentacles that are pulled back like in a ponytail. Is wearing like a cloth kind of robe thing that's like belted. Looks like it comes off pretty quick, and they're designed for aquatic life. It's a memish individual. She says, but my friend here can hop over onto your ship.
I'll trade you.
Okay.
Jen, did you want Samara to be the
Representative.
I was offering myself, but I'm also cool with like getting Samara in a good position for.
I would love to get
ensuring
Samara
cool.
in a good position. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Set me up to use that void blade, please.
All right.
Also, we've established that I will just play different characters. That's fine. I don't care.
So yeah, I think there's probably like a moment where, you know, the two of your ships like connect with an umbilical and you know, you do the exchange, and Samara, you walk into their cargo bay, which is significantly larger than the Persephone's, and it's like as you walk in, you know, their captain gives you like a sup, and there's like there's a guy standing there, and behind him are two six-legged giant Komodo dragon looking space lizards that he's clearly got on command, and there's a lady with brilliant crimson hair that has several medals that indicate that she's won some races in the system, who's clearly their pilot. You know, like, and you know, their captain goes along and like introduces everyone, and then looks at you and sort of like throws you a set of keys. And if you catch them, all she says is like, keys to your room, you know.
Oh yeah, I
yourself at
super
home.
catch them. Yep.
So yeah, like you get there and you're just like, damn, it's like a nice room, you know, like
I love this being like a hard choice for her. Like, do I go
Like,
back to
do
my
I
old
stick-
shitty job?
Yeah, it's got like warm water. There's a mini bar.
I got my own room, right?
Yeah.
You have there is a room.
I have a room.
There's
There's
free
a
booze.
gun on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, like it looks like there's a mirror above the sink, but like when you hit it and it opens, it's got like guns and knives.
God, I love it.
Right?
You're like, this is paradise as well.
Sorry, guys. I might not come back.
When we have this meetup, I assume that like it's not just Samara going across. We're getting a chance to see each other. I want to get the captain's name. If that's in this. I was like, sorry to put you on.
No, it's totally fine.
Josh,
Fortunately, I
gave
have
mine.
I think I have a handy dandy name list because I'm bad at this game. And then when I wrote, there we go, perfect. Here we go. Perfect. Oh yeah. The captain's name is Athena Black. Yes.
Nice.
Space
Nice.
name. So yeah, I think Captain Athena. It's really funny because like we see this scene where like Samara's just like mini bar and like, you know, knives and like all this stuff, and then the Mystic comes onto your ship, you know, and this Memish is just like looking at you and goes like, cool. Where's my room?
I think Whisper's like, well, we got a bunk here. You know, we got a cot here, and it's the brig. You know, the doors are open. It's not like we're locking him in, but it's like you can rest there. There's also the seat right behind the cockpit does have a headrest. I'll say I wouldn't sleep in it, but you know, it'll hold you for a couple hours.
They don't say anything at all, but you can see the like, how the fuck do you keep your crew? Like kind of like going behind their eyeballs, and then they go like, rough living. It is good for meditation. It will help purify my mind and keep my focus. And then they just
then the brig it is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool. So I think that's that. Yeah, you folks. There's gonna be like a montage, right, of like life aboard the ships. do you have a meaning like actually like the Captain Athena's like, all right, so here's the plan. We're gonna use dark hyperspace lanes, sort of run the back alleys and try and bypass some of the protections. And she outlines, because like the way that travel works in this universe is there are these like way lines, which are basically like mystical ley lines through the galaxy, and they shift periodically, right? And the ones that are stable, mostly stable, and the Starsmiths Guild builds like gates and reinforcers to try and keep them even more stable, are generally used as highways, right? Like everybody knows how they go. You can hook into them with your jump drive, and then you travel slightly faster than, you know, traditional travel. But there are gaps, right? Like they don't always go exactly where you need to go. But what she's suggesting is you run lanes that are not stable with tricky engines of maneuvering. She's got some maps, apparently. She's pretty keen on that. But there are gaps, right? Like where you have to travel through normal space. That's like where you actually like burn fuel and, you know, have to actually like maneuver in real space until you can get to the next like gate point and then hook back into a hyperspace lane and just keep rolling.
Yeah.
And those are the danger zones, right? Because like inside of these lanes, like travel is a little like the physics makes it really hard to do like combat inside a hyperspace lane. Like if you're truly outrageous as a pilot, you might attempt something like that, but it's usually suicide for both ships, so it's generally not done. And it also tends to bring way more heat than most people want. So they just don't F with combat inside the hyperspace lanes, but in real space, that's where like the pirates strike. That's where a lot of the like issues happen, right? Because like your last gate exit might be something like 6 to 8 hours of travel through like dead air to the nearest gate. So like that's where, you know, pirates are like, your stuff is mine. Right. So yeah. So she outlines like 3 big patches that you have to cross in like physical space. And she says like the most dangerous of these, like I don't think that the raiders are going to expect us to pop out here. And she says like we have like 2 real options, but the one that I'm leaning towards is we actually traverse through an asteroid field. It is their territory. They know it better than us, but it is the shortest jump like in real space. And also I don't think that they will expect us to be ballsy enough to exit there. So she's like, she's proposing, she's like, this is a slightly more risky plan. The other way, we have to make an extra 2 to 3 jumps, and it's going to be way out of our way. We're going to have to like circle around. It's going to be way smaller. We're going to have to do refuel stops. We're going to be a lot more obvious traveling. So like that's her proposed plan.
Right.
What do you folks think?
I think is this all like on COVID screens where we've got maps that we're passing back and forth?
Yeah. And I mean, like, you can have a shuttle that can go back and forth.
Okay.
Well, actually, they have a shuttle because you don't.
You just
they're like
keep rubbing it
constantly
in.
make fun of you. They're just like, Jesus Christ, do you not have an engineer? Your ship is in such terrible condition. She's like, we took damage from like weapons and we're still better. She's like, we even have what do you mean you don't have a gun? So
what we do have is long range scanners. So we might be able to pick them up before, and we also have a whole bunch of raiders that are not after this ship.
I slap the mute button and I just shout, you know what else we don't have? Holes in our ship from guns. Okay, I'm ready. I turn to Whisper and I say, you know, like face away from the screen, like, you know, it'd be really nice to have Ula here, but I've been looking at that engine. I think I could do a thing or two.
The talking head of the show has Ula looking at the camera, just staring.
Just shaking her head.
Never looked before.
I think Dipper has that murd fag expression on while this conversation is happening.
So is this the plan, or are we gonna do this?
Yeah, I think we pop out first because they're not looking for us. We do a scan, give them the clear, because we can sort of stagger our entry into the hyperspace lanes that we're a little bit ahead of them, and we pop out, give the all clear, or at least give them the heads up if there isn't an all clear, and let's go asteroid hopping. That makes our not having a gun less of a problem.
All right. So I'm going to suggest the thing. This is unusual. This is just like a thing that I think the system supports, but it's not like canonically rules. I feel like we make an engagement roll based on your comms stat. Because comms is what determines how good your long range sensors are. So that will determine how far ahead you see people. It's not an if, it's when they engage. So if your long range sensors are super good, you'll see them through metal bearing asteroids and all sorts of other stuff, and that'll give you some maneuvering. And if they're not, then well, those sure will be fun piloting roles. So yeah. We gonna do? Is this cool? Is everyone on board with this?
Yeah.
Let's see how exciting it is. Do you folks want to do anything else before we jump into the action here? I didn't know if you wanted to.
I guess I'd actually like to see what the situation is on the other ship from Samara's perspective. Like we saw Mixter Memish come aboard our ship, and I want to see, like, is Samara like positioning herself so she can overhear what they're talking about, or like?
I mean, I feel like the first few cutscenes are just Samara like being in a nice hotel room after having stayed in like a cot and a break for a while. Because I like to think that Samara always got the cot, whether it was because she just got there first or nobody wanted to fight her for it. This is where Jen accidentally takes up all the beds on the ship without meaning to.
There was definitely a scene of Sion like walking to the cot and like, seeing Samara lying in it, being like, "Oh, I guess sorry,
maybe wrong. Next time." I love it. Yeah, I do think Samara would get to a point where she would try to position herself, but I like the juxtaposition of the crew like being on this serious job and doing work, and then Samara just like taking a nice shower, right?
With hot water.
Right, with hot water, yeah.
Do you talk to the prisoner or any of the other crew much?
I think I probably talked to the prisoner first.
Okay. I think Victor Bax is actually in a room, right? And like he's got cuffs on, but they like bring him decent meals and they're not treating him terrible. He doesn't he has like a healing bruise, but it doesn't look like it was like abuse. It looks like he took a knock when they captured him. Sure. So like the captain, by the way, like when she sees you like walking by his room, what she says is 3 things. 1, keep all weapons out of this room. Guy is slipperier than an eel. 2, it took us 3 passes to get all the weapons off of him, so just be careful because I'm not sure if he has like a knife swallowed still. Believe me, this dude is like armed beyond the teeth. We actually found out that he had like an artifact inside his arm as a weapon. And 3, it's totally fine if you want to talk to him. Like she doesn't seem to care. Like sure. she just yeah.
So I'll leave the void blade in the room. I'll leave all my weapons in the room when I go to talk to him.
Yeah, I think he looks at you and just sort of and says, well, you're a face I haven't seen before. He seems very personable. Likewise. Like he has a lot of sway.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you want to let me out of the cuffs.
I mean, it's not really worth my while just yet, but I mean...
I can make it worth your while.
I'm sure you can.
I can make it worth your while more than they can.
I mean, I did just take a shower. I haven't taken a shower in weeks. It's kind of great. I kind of like it here.
Scene over in some direction.
How did we lose Samara from our crew? Was she taken out? Did she overindulge? Was she killed? No, she got a hot shower.
She got a shower.
Victor Bax leans back and says, do you know who I am?
I mean, why don't you tell me?
Well, they have all sorts of unsavory names for me. Most of them are utter nonsense, Merchant of Death and that kind of thing. But I do sell weapons. And the great thing about weapons is that when a sector is at peace, you make a profit. When a sector is at war, you make a profit. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I've got a lot of money. And if what you really want what you really want is a really nice shower, I could get you your own ship with a shower in it.
I think she looks like she's seriously considering it for like half a second. And then she kind of cocks her head to the side and says, I mean, we might get there, but I want to see how this plays out for a bit.
Interesting. So you like money, but you like other things more.
You could say that, yes.
Do you know what the first rule of a game is?
Why don't you tell me?
You gotta hold all the cards. And it's exactly the line
Yeah.
that the girl on the boat used, right? And,
Interesting.
Athena Black.
Yeah.
And Victor Bax.
Interesting. She looks like she's realized something, because Jen have just realized something. Cool. I will, maybe I'll come see you later. And she exits quickly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Nice. I similarly like to at least know a little bit about our new Memish crew member.
I think so
like?
Dipper, you can be doing whatever you want, but I think you can find the Memish meditating in front of the tank with the eel, and the eel like first starts out doing the normal Nebula eel thing, which is it's attacking the glass rapidly, and then it kind of calms down, and then like after a couple of minutes it just sits there hovering, staring right back at the Memish. She's just meditating in front of it, like very calmly.
I think once the eel calms down, Dipper will try and like we'll pat it, like give it a little head scritch.
I love that you're so just like unafraid of this like terrible nebula creature. You're just like, it's okay. You tried to eat our ship and I shoved you in an aquarium.
Yes. I think like the more time Dipper spends with it, I think the more Dipper there's a projection thing where it's like you're kind of just like me, you're very like scary on the outside, but actually you're quite sweet. And I think Dipper like will try and not disturb like the visitor while they're meditating, because that seems a lot like what Dipper does when Dipper is like juicing up and like restoring battery power, or like processing.
That's actually a good question. I think the Mimish looks at you and says, would you like to join me?
And I think Dipper I think Dipper nods quite quickly, and I think is quite curious at what's going on. I think we'll inquire like what particular meditative exercise is this?
Do you know how to attune to the way?
I've never tried.
There are 100 different ways to do it, but let me teach you the way that I was taught when I was but a young squidling. So he has this like really soothing voice, and he tells you to like stop focusing on the physical. So like shut off your eyes, like just and he talks about how he grew up in an ocean and it's like waves, and that the way is a lot like the waves of the universe. And like he talks very calmly about like feeling how the universe, like you don't even realize it, but you are moving through space right now, and that is like water, and you can feel the oceans of the universe moving through you. And like he talks about how like this is the same way that like life moves, and like life is connected, and that is how you can like feel things and speak to things, and how you can like feel the currents moving through this eel and its feelings and things like that. And that's probably where you so like he talks about this, and his voice gets slower and slower, and there are gaps where he like tries to give you time to feel the senses and everything. And that's probably where you walk in, Whisper.
Oh, nice. So they're meditating.
There are two individuals sitting in front of a tank with the eel for the first time in your recognizable existence, not attempting to murder everything.
Yeah. I think Whisper's like, so new crewmate, I kind of like looks in and sees like clearly something is going on. Like they're doing a thing. This eel is not spazzing out. Sort of looks at the eel, looks to Dipper.
They're like kneeling in front of the tank with like, their hands on their knees, just like facing the tank with their eyes closed. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Praying to the eel gods.
Playing to
It
the
does
eel
look
gods.
like that, is what I was trying to insinuate. But go
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. Like, it whispers just like, Jesus, what the hell am I on this ship with? I think Whisper like looks and's like, yeah, hello, as I was just like walking in, and I want to see if they're gonna snap out of this meditation, if they just hear somebody coming in, or if they're like deep focused in it. Dipper, what do you think? Do you like?
Yeah, well, I like to picture as the exercise was happening, like when I've meditated, you get those intrusive thoughts. And I feel like when our passengers, it's like the waves and like going in and out, and like Dipper's internal thoughts are like, oh, but that's this, and like trying to like rationalize or
Nice.
like sort of quantify everything, and Dipper has to like sort of push it away, but then it comes back, and like it's very sort of beginner meditation.
Right.
So I think Dipper
like accept the
does,
thoughts and just let them keep going. Yeah,
exactly. So I think Dipper is like snaps out of it easier than our visitor perhaps, and you see the eyes like sort of back on, and like Dipper turns their head to like look at Whisper, and is like, oh, Whisper.
just wanted you all to know we were hyperspace in 30. And he kind of gestured, like, now that you're paying attention, at Liz, to like what the, like, without saying it, because the mem still has his eye closed, like, what the hell is going on here?
Oh, I was being.
I think the memish turns around and looks at you and like, but like is not looking at Dipper, right, because of like positioning, and just like they open up their eyelids and then they like slowly remove their nictating membranes like that they use to wipe their eyes, right? So
Nice.
like
little windshield wiper.
Yeah.
Well, we were. Well, this one here was teaching me how to attune to the way, which I think is quite useful since Scion has that ability, and it does seem very practical.
Okay. And I think all of Whisper's desire to like find out more about the mem is just like gone. Like, not like maybe when we're sitting around the table, maybe when in the cockpit, maybe when action happens, but now it's like, cool, this is his interest is gone. So I'm like, all right, carry on. And just like, yeah. I don't think he's dismissive of meditation. It's just like, this is clearly a moment you're having. I don't know, and backs out.
I think the mystic looks at you, Dipper, and just says, is your captain always like that?
Not always. I worry if I've annoyed him somehow by doing this.
I think you definitely would have gotten the impression that I was not keen on you getting super, super cozy with this new crew member. Like that is not the attuning, it's the getting real friendly and like making yourself vulnerable to somebody we don't know. That was the look I gave, if that makes any sense.
Awesome.
Later. Don't give yourself a hard time, Dipper. He just doesn't like the way.
I think I will ask the visitor, like, if I keep doing this, can I use the way?
So you can definitely buy a tune, which everyone has access to, and but usually the way, so like a tune has some base abilities, like you can sense people's killing intent, you can talk to animals, you can sense way creatures. It does a lot of stuff on its own. But in order to like do cool stuff, like lift things with your mind, you have to buy a trait, which is just a personal advance. It's fine. So
I think if the visitor does convey like, oh yeah, like you can talk to animals and stuff, Dipper gets very excited at that prospect and like puts a hand on the glass between them and the eel. Like, I can talk to this eel, baby.
Nice.
Hashtag life goals.
Yes.
Talking to eels. All right. Cool. So shall we make this engagement roll? Okay. Is there anything else that anybody wants to do? I know that Samara dashed out with an insight, so I'm double checking.
There's a thing I want to do, but I can make it real quick. I want to try to set up a future rig roll of my own with a study roll on the engine.
Don't you do it, Scion.
It's about to get risky real fast.
No.
So, yes, I have a 0 in study, so I'm going to push myself.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
This is brilliant.
I'm going to spend stress right now instead of a gambit in order to do that thing.
You better
Nothing
not
could
bring
go
a
wrong
broken
here.
ship back to Ula. That's all I'm
Oh,
saying.
it's gonna be broken.
I mean,
Here we
we're
go.
going through an asteroid field. I
It's
don't
true.
think
I was about to
there's
offer a devil's gambit, but
You're
but
not just
you can
going through an
only-
asteroid field. You're
you can
going through
only
an
do one
asteroid
of
field
them.
with hostile pirates.
Does anybody else have any like assist? Like Dipper, do you have study?
I don't have a dot in it, but I could totally try and assist you by sort of researching stuff or tapping into something or
Yeah,
checking the
I would
memory
totally
bank.
grab you and be like, "Hey, Dipper, can you tell me about like this capacitor over here and the flux attenuator? Like, no, just like let's talk through this. Pull up that schematic we found on the intergalactic web."
Excellent. Yeah, Differ will totally pull that out here and like sort of do this and tap away at things. And
Is this studying our engine or their engine?
This is studying our engines to
Okay,
set
cool.
up myself in the future for when I need to make a rig roll to like, reroute the flux capacitor when you need to punch it.
Got it.
True.
Awesome.
This is exactly how it's done.
Is this risky standard for the study?
Yeah, because you're gonna have to open up the engine, and I don't know that you have any idea how this stuff works.
No, it's I've been studying. It's going to be great.
Okay. Oh, okay. You should roll some dice.
Here we go.
Great.
Woo! Hey, it's not terrible.
No problem at all. Your study is successful and you have set yourself up. And as the camera watches you going through and being like, this isn't so hard, they notice that there's a couple of extra parts when you put it back together.
Right. There's like one sink
It's
section
fine.
of tube where I'm just like, I don't know where this went, but everything fit back together. So
And the lights are green, so there's no problem. None whatsoever.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just want to point
That's the
out
end for
that
me.
I am not taking part in breaking your ship.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Who's gonna blame
Um,
you anyway?
Remind me to have Ula fuck with the way the next time I play her.
Yeah. There's another important thing that Cyan is going to realize when he goes down to the engine room, which is that Whisper has super been bogarting Ula's hammock that's hanging in there.
it's like completely different position, different height. There's like, a whisper plushie,
Exactly. Whisper is 100% been sleeping in Ula's hammock and not telling anybody about it.
I look at this as I walk in with Dipper and I just go, saving that one for later. And then I turn over to the engine.
I just see the scene already where you're talking to Ula and it's like, what did you do with my ship? And they're like, Cyan was messing with the engine. And Whisper's like, Cyan was sleeping in your hammock.
yes.
Yes.
What is this eel doing in here? Yeah.
Everyone's under the bus.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's punch it and
Roll your
navigate some-
comms as an engagement.
Sure. Who's working comms? Is that Dipper? Is that Cyan? I'm assuming I'm
Working comm?
piloting.
We can comms, you said, or
Yeah. Who's on sensors? Who's going to be detecting this?
oh, good question.
Lauren, how do you feel about Dipper doing it?
Dipper could totally do it. I don't have any dots in study or rig or anything.
It's okay.
But
You're just making a comms roll right now.
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's a 2-die fortune roll. That's our
sweet.
comm rating.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Did it.
I just think that makes sense to have the person who's actually sitting in front of them.
That sounds perfect. Where is the fortune roll on this? character
Scroll
sheet?
down to the bottom of any sheet and you'll see Wheel of
perfect.
Fortune.
Double sixes. It's gonna happen. We're gonna just breeze right through.
Believe, fam, believe.
I can't. Oh, there it is. It's like the big button right in front of me. There we go. 2 dice. It's a bit. Got a
Hey.
4.
So it's not desperate, so they haven't been lying in wait, but your sensors detect them lying in wait. So you reroute very quickly. And it's one of those moments where, you're like you hear they like, oh, nice, they set a trap. And then, you patch some coordinates through and you see their engines flare and you go like, hang on, everybody, things about to get spicy. So
Excellent.
So yeah, I think what we see is like the Drexler Raiders are doing some. So they're used to space combat. How much do you folks know about Drexler's Raiders? Drexler's a pirate leader, much like the Banshee Queen. They don't like each other much because the Banshee Queen is more like closer to the Robin Hood end of the spectrum. Like she's not good. She takes stuff and she kills people when they need killing. But Drexler's Raiders love popping ships open, letting everyone suffocate, and then taking the ship completely. So they're, huh?
It's just more efficient.
The way that they tend to do this is they'll do like close-in passes, and they have these like big exosuits and like laser axes, and they just land on the hull and just cut holes through it. So yeah, it's fun. So I think that's what we see is we see like Drexler's Raiders, like they also have grapple arms, much like you do. And they'll do things like try and fly real close to an asteroid, grab onto it, swing around, change their angle trajectory real fast. And when they whip, like you'll see like some of those suits like flare their backpacks and try to latch on. So I guess what I'm saying is you folks are getting attacked. Sean, would you like to make a helm roll? I assume you're flying.
I assume I'm flying too. But I think when it cuts back, like we have like our 0G or our space suits like ready with like the helm right there, because like if they crack a hole in Persephone, like if we know about them, we're ready for it.
Okay, so I think maybe that's a thing that Athena's like, have you ever dealt with Drexlers before? And she's saying this as she's like putting on her space. Actually, no, she does this thing where she like taps. She's got these like weird bands around her hands, and you see them actually like flex out. And she's got like an artifact spacesuit.
She's such a jerk.
Fancy. They're just showing us up at every turn. We're like sitting here like strapping on buckles.
You think that, and then the suit turns black, and it looks even better. But go on.
Yeah. As we're sitting there like clank, snap, pop. I like yeah.
I'm hopping around with like 1 foot in my suit in the background, like
the super glorious part of it. All right, and that's so in with the visor on, and I think it looks like a flight helmet. So it's not as cool as artifact suit, but it's not awkward looking either. We see like a little like heads up inside Whisper's flight helmet, and he realizes, all right, they're here just like we expected, but and he pipes through their coordinates so that when they pop out of hyperspace they'll know exactly where they are, and I start diving into the field.
Cool.
And risky helm.
Yeah.
That's and my goal here is to basically give them cover to get in, so it's cause enough attention that they're going to come after us, and make a clear path for what's Athena's ship called? Do we know?
I think it's called the Twilight Owl.
Okay. All right. Making a clear flight path for the owl.
I may or may not be inspired by Lady Blackbird. Please continue.
All good. Lauren, are you up for giving me an assist on this by giving me all that comms information? You feel?
Heck yeah. Totally.
Or any other way, but yeah.
Yeah, I can totally like relay you up-to-date coordinates of what's happening and where we are in relation to them and that kind of thing, for sure.
All right. Nice. Okay. Risky standard effect?
Yep.
Cool.
Rocking.
Up. Nice. That gets us a gambit.
It does. So I'm gonna give you a clock for escaping the Drexler's Raiders.
Nice.
Give me just a second. I feel like, it's standard, so you're gonna fill in two segments here. And then I will tell you what the next major obstacle is as soon as I find where my clocks are. Come on, clocks. Do we not have clocks here?
We haven't used them yet.
We haven't
Oh
used
no!
clocks.
Oh no!
Oh, no,
Do you
no
see them?
clock.
Are they in the?
I don't.
It should be in the. They're usually. Well, I will set it. I will say. I will figure it out during break.
Cool.
Which we're coming up on. So I'll do that, and then we'll make sure we've got some clocks on there. So yeah, I think that there's probably like a moment where the plan executes almost exactly as you thought, right? So like the Drexler Raiders like come above you, they do they attempt a boarding action, you scream, right, like for the owl. Then there's like a moment where they like pepper you with some like light fire, and the owl like jumps ahead because they've got the matter sinks, which is part of what was doing a lot of that deflection. So you see them like take matter cannon fire and then just like bleed it off as they're like flying. And like the two of you are dodging and weaving, and this is all going pretty great, right? Like, so like then we see like a far off shot where like we see like the little like circular explosions in space as like asteroids are being hit with fire, and you know there's like some signs of like engines like making the little like lines through the rocks and everything. And that's when we see the like big like engines like turn on like 6 in succession, and they go from like the red fire of like ignition to like blue to like white. And then we see a much larger ship start moving into position. And we see,
are they moving
like,
into the field? Are they moving into the asteroid field?
Yeah, they are. So they were hoping to stay out, but like this is their like, it's got like deployables, right? Like you see like little bay doors open and like little suits fly out and everything. So it's that classic moment right before we see a Macross missile massacre, except none of you have missiles. So that is bears.
Dipper does.
Great. Is this the point where you're just like, all right, Dipper, deploy to the hull. We're gonna have to cut our way through these people.
Get into the claw.
Oh, yeah.
No, 100%. Because we've actually practiced this. Whisper and Dipper in our first downtime, we practiced like me flying and Dipper being on outside the hull and doing maneuvers. Like
this is part of why we're unpredictable.
Yeah, it's a training montage we had. So
all right.
Yeah, and speaking of unpredictable, if Cyan wants to go back to back with Dipper for like round 2 of fighting stuff outside the ship, that'd be quite cute.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, we know they're gonna come send people with laser axes. So you know, you mag locked on the top of the ship sounds great.
Excellent.
We got you two. We got a grapple arm. We're good.
Yeah.
Should we cut to commercial and or cut to break and then
I think
come back?
I think there's probably like a moment where, you know, right before the cool plan executes, when the big ship is like zooming in and like opening all of its pod doors, and we see like suits coming out, like launching themselves, like you know, dramatically, of course, Whisper says, "Oh boy," and then like Dipper, and then of course we cut to commercial.
Nice.
So yeah, let's take a break, make some tea, and then we'll be back with some maybe rousing action, maybe just some sweet flying. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm so excited either way.
I want to know what Samara's doing on the other ship as well. So we'll see in a sec.
I want to know what she figured out.
Yeah, me too. Bye.